Good morning, one. Good morning, all. This is Ned over at My Philippine Dreams, coming at you from Dumaguete City, the city of gentle people. And we are continuing our weekly series. I'm calling this, for lack of anything better to call it, the Ned Kelly Chronicles. And there's going to be two live casts that I'm going to do a week. One of them is going to have to do with this week in the Philippines, basically looking at what's going on in Philippine politics and how things could affect life as an expat foreigner living in the Philippines. And the other one is going to be more of a Q&A and interaction with content creator Ned Kelly, that's me, and to give the subscribers and to the people that follow the channel an opportunity to ask questions, offer criticism, give some feedback, say what they're interested in seeing, what we should be covering, and to bring to light some attention to some mistakes that I'm making, such as I didn't know Henry did Lantau Restaurant, I think this past week. I have no idea. I got to start following his channel so I know what he's talking about. So we're going to be covering a few things. If you have any comments, please leave it in the chat. You're probably going to be experiencing some buffering because this is the Philippines. We have pretty expensive internet. It's 2,600 pesos a month. It's PLDT 8 megabit, but the upload speed is only about 0.5, so you're probably going to experience some buffering. So if you have too much buffering and it's driving you crazy, just come back and watch it at a later time after it gets processed by YouTube and posted up. Alright, first up, this livecast is brought to you by Lazada.com. Yes, Lazada.com, the outlet for all your item needs. Lazada's been around since I believe 2007, and they're operating now in 13 countries. And thank you for the sponsorship, and we'll be pocketing those pesos. Thank you very much. Alright, first up, as some of you know, I got some health issues going on. I have an L5-S1 herniation that I got a epidural steroid injection for about a year and a half ago in Cebu, because I had radiculopathy off the L5-S1 down the left side of my leg and my hip, and that kind of sucked. Now I just found out that I have a problem with my C2, which is in your neck. It's neck vertebrae. So now I have lumbar radiculopathy, and now I have cervical radiculopathy going down the left side of my neck, so that kind of sucks, but hey. So what I'm probably going to do is, because my back's hurting and my neck's hurting now, I thought I had a stinger, because it happened after I did some heavy lifting about 3-4 weeks ago at the gym, and I thought it was just a stinger. But come to find out, they did an x-ray and they did a fluoroscope on it, and the doctor believes that the nerve is impacted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Cebu. I know I've been talking about this for a while. Go see Dr. Richard Condor over there and try to get a 2-for-1 special. Get a needle in my neck and a needle in my spine and try to get it addressed. So, again, getting old, almost 50 years old now. Man, to be 20 again, young, being able to recover, like nothing hurt you, nothing phased you. Alright, so that's that. Let's go to the comments. Blah, blah, blah. What's up? Ned Kelly on air. My God, a premiere. Hey Ned, how are you? I'm Bud Brown's friend. Mario, thank you, Mario. Thanks for checking in. Godfather of, the king himself. That's me. Don't change what you're doing. Seeing both of you a day apart was good. Oh, yeah, that was weird. Bushman, hey Bushman, what's up? Good to see you, man. Actually, I was watching Bushman's videos long before I came to the Philippines. I believe he's back in his home nation now. So it's good to hear from you. He did some really excellent motorcycling videos in particular, where he'd put his GoPro on it, and he had a nice GoPro. And I hope all is working out for you. Seen any Duterte crackdown in your barangay? Not in our particular barangay, but in surrounding barangays, yes. Even up in Valencia, there's been some extrajudicial actions that have been taken against individuals, also in Daro. And actually, this salvage, this salvaje, is something that's been around in the Philippines for a long time. Coke Leon. Oh, Lek is on the Coke Leon. Mario, so I was wondering, ouch, be careful. What do you think of the troll problem? Oh, hey, you know what's funny? I was thinking last night. I remember doing a video a long time ago where I was like encouraging people to open up and, you know, start their own YouTube channels, recounting their experiences in the Philippines. And I'm kind of regretting actually doing that. Because the great thing about YouTube, as I've said before, is anybody can start a YouTube channel. The bad thing about YouTube is anybody can start a YouTube channel. And there was actually a period a few weeks ago where I was going through all these, there's like 3 or 4 channels that are just like total negativity. And it wasn't good for me. I actually did it for like a whole day. I was working and listening to it on basically on the headphones because they're all like talking head videos or there's no video at all. And I got into a real like negative space listening to it. You know, listening to stuff like that isn't spiritually good for you. Yes, they bring up some good points. They talk about negative stuff that happens in the Philippines, but I think a lot of our channels are covering that. I try to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly in the Philippines. And if you don't believe me, go over to our website, myphilippinedreams.com, and get our free ebook. It's a 53-page ebook, and I think I started off with all the negatives about the Philippines. So yeah, the troll thing is it's whatever. There's some sick individuals. There's a couple guys that are just pure personality disorders, and that I used to work with that population when I was back in the States. So it's interesting from a clinical aspect to see a lot of the symptomologies that arise within personality disorders. They lack empathy, they don't have insight, they believe that they have some secret knowledge or power that other people don't have. And also, especially with borderlines, they alternate between attacking people and then getting all upset when people, attack them back and becoming, painting themselves as the victims. So from a clinical aspect, I actually like some of the troll stuff. Like there's one channel, I'm not going to say his name, but his initials are PV. I watch all his videos, and sometimes I'll throw in a comment just to kind of like mess with them. All right. Yesterday, I put up an article over on our website, Quality of Life in the Philippines. And basically what it examines is the difference between the lower cost of living that you do experience in the Philippines. For example, my monthly rent is basically now what my whole monthly expenses are. And the quality of life, because there's a lot of things that go on here. This is a third world country. This is a developing nation. There's a lot of things that go on here, especially when it comes to pollution, when you got poor air quality with lack of emissions control, when you don't have the conveniences of the Western world, like being able to go to a library, not having to deal with government bureaucracy all the time, corruption and red tape. So that stuff does affect you, plus the infrastructure. I'm sure at some point this livecast is probably going to fail because the signal here, although the download and upload speed isn't bad, the signal, no matter who you have, is pretty bad. So you might want to go over and check that out. Yeah, people are going to say, oh, that's so negative. You shouldn't be talking about all the negative stuff in the Philippines, but it's something that we have to talk about. So that's that. Go check it out. Dwight Butler. Kermit the Frog, Delusions of Grandeur. Oh, I know what you're talking. Yeah. They also have this messianic. A lot of them have this messianic complex where they feel like they have to take the moral high ground, and you can interact with the troll. And I think Kermit's talking about the trolls, and you can interact, but you can ask them a direct question or face them with some direct fact, and they'll always find a way around it. Peter. Hi from the Netherlands. Really enjoy your videos. Thanks. Expat and training. Sadly, most folks are drawn to controversy, hence the American politics. Absolutely, man. Drama sells. Drama absolutely sells. Actually, a quick aside, this has nothing to do with anything. But YouTube channels, you can do anything on YouTube channels and be successful. There's this one Korean woman, South Korean woman, her name's Sugi, S-O-O-G-I. And she does YouTube videos of her just sitting down with this big-ass table with these giant family-sized platters of food, and all she does is eat and talk to her little Twitch audience and stuff. And she's got like millions and millions and millions of views. And she eats in that, that typical South Korean style where it's slurping up the noodles and basically kind of sometimes eating with your mouth open. And I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if there's some fetish aspect to that or what. Larry Morris, Netto's in your old stomping grounds today. Boston Bowling on Morrissey Boulevard. Oh yeah, that place can sometimes be dangerous. That's a That's a dangerous part of Dorchester sometimes. The bowling alley can get a little crazy. Then to Castle Island in Southie. Oh, I miss Castle Island so much. Ate at Sully's. I love Sully's. Love. Thank you. Miss you. Home now. Yeah, especially now that it's fall. Fall's coming up. I miss Boston because it's nice in the fall. It's nice in the spring. It's nice in the fall. Summer and winter, not so much. Rendell Kirby asks, how does one earn an income there? Well, I work remotely. I have some friends that I started working for just before I moved over here, writing SEO content for them. And they've passed my name on to other guys. So now I have like this little network of guys that I do work for. So that's one way to earn income. If you can work remotely, it's a great place to live and to work and to save a lot of money. Kermit the Frog wants to flirt on my stream. Sure, go right ahead, man. Wes, your PS4 is the American version, or did you get one there? I actually got mine here, but it is an American version, so if you have a PS4, you can bring it with you. I actually have my American PS3 here, which I'm probably going to sell. Do you ever plan expat and training? Do you ever plan on returning to the U.S.? Absolutely. Yeah, this isn't a permanent move, I don't believe. You know, when you're talking about the possibility of family and children and stuff, at some point you want to bring them back. You want to have them be able to take advantage of that those first world amenities, especially when it comes to education and stuff. Cody Williams asks, what are you using for broadcast equipment? I know you have an S6 and they have live broadcast built in. Have you tried it at all? I haven't tried that. Right now I'm just using my main computer, and I got OBS. I believe it's called OBS Studio. It's a free software that you can get to do live casts. Bob Barker, I work remotely. I watch TV a lot. Yeah, it's good to have Netflix. Netflix is really good. Let's talk about shopping really quick. Lazada. And I actually don't have a sponsorship deal with Lazada. I was just playing. Lazada's great and eBay's great. As long as if you have an American eBay account, you can order stuff off the American eBay site. You just got to make sure it's coming from Hong Kong or China. It takes about 3 to 5 weeks for stuff to arrive here, but it's a great asset, and it's a great resource for getting the things that you need. For example, Michelle's keyboard broke on her computer, so we had to order a new one, and thank God for eBay. And also I got things like, I got this Wi-Fi extension dongle. You just plug it into a USB power source, you set it up, and it extends your Wi-Fi signal, because we weren't being able to get Wi-Fi signal all around the house. And I got this great Chinese charger for my Samsung S6. It's a cheap one. It's only like $3 or $4. Hopefully it won't blow up my phone, but it works really well. It's one of those near field charging units where you just place the phone on and it goes bleep and it works. If you're using Lazada, and Lazada's great, I get a lot of stuff from, I've gotten TVs, air conditioners, protein powder, all that stuff off Lazada. Make sure you go online and you get the Lazada Chrome extension. The Lazada Chrome extension is on the Play Store, and it's something that a local foreigner actually developed here to show you the difference between local stock with Lazada and outside the country suppliers. Because if you don't have that, and you order something from Lazada and you expect it to be here in a week, which stuff usually is. If it's local product in Lazada on the Lazada site, you'll usually get it within a week. So make sure you get your money ready, because it's COD. But if it's an outside supplier, you're going to experience that 3 to 5 week delay as they ship it. So that's a great extension to get. It's safe, it's free. I highly recommend it. Back to the comments. Wes, are you going to purchase the pink house or just keep renting? No, we're not going to purchase the pink house. The pink house is great for what we need right now and everything. The neighborhood is great. It's a very safe neighborhood because it's all clan. It's all family. Everybody knows everybody. And actually, to get to our house, you got to take this trail and to this other trail and to this other trail. So we don't even get the IO people coming around asking for money here. So we're just going to keep renting. If you're in the Philippines, renting is dirt cheap. There's no sense in buying something unless you've been here for a long time and you're in a serious relationship and you're married and you can do something there. Alfonso Hernandez asks, is it true that the girls in the Philippines are very approachable? I'd say yeah. You know, it's easy. They're easy to talk to, especially around Dumaguete, Negros Oriental, right here in Dumaguete. It's a college town, so everybody's English levels are really good. If you go outside into provincial areas, the English isn't going to be as good, and people are going to be a lot more shy because they don't want to be suffering from nosebleed trying to speak English. Yeah, there's the old joke here. What's the #1 pickup line here in the Philippines? Hello. And Davis asked, do you come across any Hiberians from the old country in the Philippines? I don't know what a Hiberian is. I know what a Siberian is. Martin Agnew asks, can you order stuff on eBay or Amazon and have it delivered to your dad and have him send it all in a Balikbayan box? Yeah, but for that to be cost effective, because a Balikbayan box is like at least $80 to send here, and it takes 3 months to get here itself, you can do that. I've actually found eBay and Lazada to be very good. If you order something from Amazon, you can have them send it here, but when it comes in, you're going to get killed with the customs fee. So they're going to charge you like 50 to 60%, if not more, of its value. So Filipino Pride, you asked the same question. Can you order from Amazon here in the States to the Philippines? Yes, you can, but whoever receives it is going to get a massive customs fee. So I would not recommend that. Do not do that. Do not send anything here valuable, because first off, it might not make it here, and second off, you're going to pay that huge customs fee. With eBay, with Lazada, you're not paying those fees because they have agreements or whatever. But with eBay also, whenever you order an item, you're paying a customs fee. You have to go down to the post office, and they look at the label and they give it to you, and then they charge you like 120 pesos. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Larry Morris asks, Ned, how common is the age gap there? I know it is huge. Expat is usually 30 years older than their Filipino partner. You see a lot there. Yeah, you see guys like that. But there's a lot of the guys that I know, their wives or girlfriends are about their age. But you do see that. You'll see some huge age gaps here. You'll see, 70-year-old guys. Well, that's not old anymore. 75. I've seen, guys pushing 80 that have, 19, 20-year-old girlfriends. But as, one guy succinctly explained it to me. He says, I haven't done that, that whole horizontal bop thing for like 30, 40 years, and basically it's just for the company. And again, in situations like that, it's pretty transactional. I mean, all relationships are transactional to a certain extent, but when you're looking at that massive age gap, yeah, there's definitely a transactional thing going on there. I mean, Donald Trump, is Melania, whatever her name is, there's a bit of an age difference there. That Shendel Adelson, there's all kinds of examples. But when they're really rich people, and they have a younger trophy wife that they've imported from a foreign country, people don't seem to mind. Ned, what games do you play on your PS4? Right now I'm playing Elder Scrolls Online. I'm kind of lost in that. But I've been working on a bunch of work projects also, so I'm only like level 7. But I play Borderlands 2 a lot too. Chris DeBona, Ned, hi from Florida. How is your back and how do you deal with the medical restrictions on medications? Thankfully, Tramadol, Ultram, which is a non-opioid painkiller, I think it's the strongest non-opioid painkiller you can get, is only 3 pesos per pill here. So I take about 1 of those a day, two a day sometimes when it's bad. So the back is still a problem. It's still there. I don't think it's something we ever get rid of. The epidural steroid shot helped a lot though, but it only lasted about 6 or 7 months. So I got to get that done again. And that's good because I got to get my neck done too. Ah yeah, getting needles stuck in your neck in the Philippines. Filipino Pride, what's the best way to ship large items to the Philippines? I'd say Balikbayan box. I've known guys who have come here, who have moved here, And you know, they did the right thing. They visited multiple times before, so they knew what they were getting into. And they sent themselves like 20, 30 Balik Bayan boxes. They sent like their whole house. All right. Next thing we're going to get into, the next topic I want to talk about is Susan Blazak. If you guys have been following our channel, you know that Ted was murdered down in Darwin back in June. It was horrific. These were people that we knew. These were people that we broke bread with. And I'll tell you what, after Ted was murdered, I had a real attitude problem, and I was, you know, dealing with like some depression. The good news is that Susan is back in the United States, so she is safely out of the country. There was a hold on her. First, she didn't have her passport because Ted had sent it to the embassy to get renewed because she needed a new passport. And then there was a whole departure order on her and her 2 friends that were there in the house at the same time. And now that is all cleared up, and she's back in the United States, so thank God for that. And it was a horrific, tragic event. Things like this do happen. Unfortunately, as foreigners, a lot of times we get preferential treatment, but sometimes we also get targeted for violent crimes based solely on the color of our skin and them thinking that we have money. And I'm just glad that Susan was able to get back there, because what happened was there was a few things going on right after, after Ted was murdered. That was bad enough. And meeting up with them the next day and just seeing the grief on all 3 of them, because his male friend had known Ted for like 50 years or something, like 40 years, something like that. So they and his friend's wife was equally devastated, and they'd known each other. So just having to see that was bad enough. But then having to listen to the chismoso from the foreigner community around Dumaguete about, oh, they found this and this isn't right, and I bet she or he or they or all this. So there were all these people, there was all this chismis, there was all this gossip, there were all these suppositions, there was all this, chicken chatter going on around the foreigner population. And that causes, there's 2 problems. There's 2 problems that I had with it. Actually, there's 3. First off, the information they were providing was wrong. Whenever anybody would come up to me and say, hey, Ned, blah, 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 I tell them to go down to the Darwin police station, because at least here in Negros Oriental, you can actually go into the police station, the guy will bring you in the back room, and they'll open up the file, and you can see all the evidence that they have. So there was that problem. People didn't know what they were talking about. They didn't have the facts. There was also the whole idea of chismis and it just being spiritually bankrupting. I mean, nothing good comes out of gossiping about other people, especially in a tragic situation like that. And the third and biggest exception that I took with it was, this isn't the first world. This is a third world country. This is a developing nation. So it's not exactly CSI. They don't have cutting edge technology when it comes to police investigations. And a lot of times, in some parts of the world, they're looking for the easiest way out. And the easiest way out was for them to look at who was in the house and to start blaming them. So when you had all this foreigner chismis, and Filipinos are listening, they hear it, and then they're repeating it, it could get back to the police, the Keystone Cops, and people could get picked up, they could be detained, and murder, sex charges, stuff like that in the Philippines are non-bailable. Usually, they're non-bailable, especially in the cases like premeditated murder or something. So, that was just a bad period for me. It was a horrible period for DeWitt, Christina, and for Susan, but it was just hard for everybody. And just having to listen to all the bullshit from the foreigners. I'd go somewhere, I'd sit down, and people would be talking. I'd be just like, oh my God, are you guys kidding me? Really? Because, first of all, at its most basic level, she didn't have the physical capability to do what was done. That's just number one. And it was a horrific crime scene, and there would have been blood splatter all over. I'm not going to get into the details. It's whatever. But Susan, thank God you're back in the United States. I'm so glad for that. Back to the comments. My wife told me that you guys are having curfew at 10 and makes everyone stay inside. Nope. There's a curfew for those under 18 in Dumaguete where the horn goes off. Aloe Winter, how about Call of Duty as a former Army guy? Nope. No, I don't do like the Call of Duty series. I never got into that. I like Borderlands too. I find something that I like and I tend to stick to it. Yeah. Any tips on backpacking the Philippines? No, I don't really have too many. I mean, yes, if you're serious about backpacking in the Philippines, definitely get the book by, hold on. Stay right there. Definitely get this book right here, Philippines Travel Guide by Jens Peters. This is by far the most comprehensive travel guide to the Philippines. The Lonely Planet one's pretty good too, but this one, especially when you're backpacking and you're looking for like the cheapest places to stay, this has all the information. And this guy, this is his life work, Jens Peters, and it's a pretty impressive book. I actually have two copies. I have a good copy and the bad copy that I rip pages out of when I'm traveling around. Is there a big crime rate in the Philippines? Yes. Oh yeah. It's a poor country. There's a lot of opportunistic crime. There's a lot of burglaries. There's larcenies, things like that. Hustles, scams. You know, people are looking to survive. People are looking to get money. Mario, are you allowed to use drones in the Philippines? Yes. You know, the thing about the Philippines is they have a lot of rules and regulations, but they're not really enforced. Or you could say more accurately that they're selectively enforced. So if there are rules and regulations and I'm not aware of it, I haven't seen it. I've seen drones flying around, and they don't seem to be American drones, so I don't get too concerned about it. When you start seeing the American drones flying around, let's see. Yeah, there's a lot of questions and stuff and comments coming through, so I can't get to everything. So if I missed you, apologies. Ned, you get any Christmas carolers yet? And where is Mama McCracken? This is Larry Morris. No Christmas carolers yet. Again, we're in a weird place because they sealed off the end of our road, which is the main road. So now we have to go on like the circuitous route to get out to the street. And we haven't had, after that happens, we're like at the very end of this little route that you have to go through. So we don't get the IOs, we don't get the carolers, we don't get the badge out coming through asking for money. But I'm sure they'll show up soon. Mama McCracken, she just had puppies again. I'm gonna put some video up. She looks horrible. You know, that family. Also, you know, Stinky, her son Stinky, if you followed our channel, you've seen I did a lot of videos on Stinky. Stinky's dead. Stinky, they had him tied with a wire to a tree, and it was pouring rain. There was no cover, because this is, you know, sometimes this is how they deal with their animals here. So he ran around the tree and he strangled himself to death. Mama McCracken looks like they haven't been feeding her much, but she just had puppies, and you know how they need more food. So we just saw her yesterday. She looks like she's aged 10 years in just a short time that I've been here. That shit's depressing, man. It's a dog's life in the Philippines. Mark Wadsley asks, do you get homesick? Absolutely. Yeah. But, you know, I know I go home every year so I can see family and talk to friends and stuff and smell that clean, fresh air that we have in the United States, because we have those things. What are they called? Oh, yeah, emission controls. So, yeah, I get homesick, of course. Wes says a school got shot up last week. This must be in the United States. Can you talk about guns in the Philippines? A school got shot up last week. Oh, it's another, yeah. Yeah, I don't watch American news. I really don't have time for it, and it's usually just depressing shit anyways. So I'm really not up on what's going on in the U.S. But guns in the Philippines, there's a lot of guns in the Philippines. This is like one of the most heavily armed places I've ever seen. You'll see armed guards just about at every store, in front of banks, malls, everywhere. You'll see Philippine army guys out with their bomb-sniffing dogs and all that. And a lot of people have guns here. A lot of my neighbors have guns. I don't have a gun. I'm a foreigner. We're not allowed to have a gun. Excuse me. Michelle can have a gun. And if somebody breaks into the house or tries to break into the house, I am allowed to use it as long as I am within close proximity to her. I'd probably just like dust it off and make sure that it went back into her hand before the police showed up. Expat in training, if I lived there, I would bake cookies and give it all to the police officers? Absolutely. Oh, the little house on the rock pinnacle in my slideshow, I don't think that's my photo. I don't think that's mine. Are you still planning on some instructional Cebuano videos? Yeah, hopefully at some point. Ned, can you watch NFL or NCAA football in the Philippines? Yes. With the Amazon Fire Stick loaded up with Kodi, you can basically watch anything. Does Tien Miller, does the slideshow take more of your upload bandwidth versus a static photo? I'm not sure. I'm not an expert on this live casting stuff at all. I'm flying without a net here. Flying by the seat of my pants. I don't know. All I do know is that when it's streaming, there's usually a lot of buffering that the people, watching the stream experience. But then when it gets processed and put up on YouTube, it looks a lot better. Also, when I'm watching it live, there's a big delay. So I can't even watch it live because I'm watching myself like 30 seconds ago. Mario, what do you actually think? What do you think actually of the Barry case? The guy stuck in Mindanao. Somebody asked me this on the last live cast. I don't know much about it. From what I've seen, it seems like he came here with no money, kind of on a wing and a prayer. He wasn't fully prepared. Well, it wasn't a matter of preparation. It was when he got here, I guess after a while his money got cut off. And so he's having to deal with all that, and he was asking for donations, and people gave him, a good amount of money to fly back to the U.S., and now he says he doesn't have. It's convoluted. I can't watch his videos, but it is what it is. I mean, if you come here without, and you're planning to live, and you're doing it long term, and you haven't done the proper preparation, you haven't been here, you haven't done the research, you haven't networked with people, you haven't, really experienced what it's like to go from the first world to the third world. And I'm not saying it's a horrible thing, because if the Philippines was terrible, I wouldn't be here. It's got a lot to offer. It's a beautiful country. I actually like most of the food. The people are very friendly. And the cost of living here is so cheap. So, and there's always something to do. It's sunny. It's never cold. It's never freezing. Sometimes it's too hot. But you got to do due diligence in preparing for this. If you've never been here and you just pack up and go, that's not too smart. I did it, and that wasn't too smart, But it's nice going back every year. Mario also asks, Philippines is basically a vacation spot. I'll tell you what, if the Department of Tourism put more effort into putting up signs and, talking to resort owners and stuff about, how to run resorts, customer service, optimizing, reinvesting capital to, make improvements on the site and stuff, I think it would be a lot better, because I've talked to a bunch of guys who have come here vacationing, and it's shocking. They're kind of overwhelmed by it, and trying to find places. Just signs and just putting stuff on Google Maps or Maps.me and all those those crowdsourcing sites, so people know where to go and how to get to these places. Mr. Lopez, Mr. Anderson Lopez, you've been following our channel for a long time. He says, I don't know if it's wheelchair friendly. The Philippines, except for some certain areas, some small, exceptions, is not wheelchair friendly. Susan Blazak was, basically confined to a wheelchair, and Ted would push her all over the city, and it was hard for them. It was hard for them to get around. Dun, dun. Brian Dawson, Ned, if I marry a Filipina and adopt her kid, do I have to have a nanny with me when she is not around? He's referring to this law, and it's one of these anti-trafficking laws where foreigners can't be with people of certain ages. It's to protect children from exploitation, from pedophiles and sex predators. And there's been some situations where, and it's got to be family, it's got to be a relative, it's got to be something like that. So the answer to that is no. As long as it's family, you know, you're married and it's your kid, it's whatever, it's not a problem. When the law first came out, there were a couple guys caught up, and they were just, you know, innocuously. One of them was, I think he was Norwegian. He was at a port, and his sister's, not his sister's kids, his wife's sister's kid, so it was a niece or something, was with him. The police picked him up. They had to investigate. You know, investigations take a little while here, so he was locked up for like 2 or 3 days. But that law is in place, again, to protect people from sex predators. So I'd rather have them err on the side of caution than not enforce it. Okay, Anderson. Okay, got it. Martin, Ned, could you do a chat on the weekend for us Aussies? The time works fine for the USA any day of the week, but some of us Aussies have jobs and can't make this time during the week. Yeah, I think, what is it? I don't know what time it is in Australia now. I live in Sydney. That's where I got my name Ned. That's where I got named Ned, and I swear on my life after Ned Kelly. My parents watch it, so I'm not lying. Somebody asked, foreigners can't have knives either, can they? That's what I was told is making plans for my backpacking trip next year. No, you're not allowed to have knives. I don't know if it's knives of a certain size, but if you're backpacking and you're like camping, you gotta have a knife. So, you know, again, there's all kinds of rules, there's all kinds of regulations here. But as long as, you know, you keep your nose clean, you mind your own business, you don't rock the boat, you do that pakiki sama, you know, that smooth interpersonal relations, both on a personal level and a macro level in the Philippines, you'll generally be all right, unless you incur the interest of a predatory criminal who's smoking shabu and is looking to make an easy buck. Davao Don, Cody rocks. Yeah, Cody works really well. And the Amazon Fire Stick I really like, and Netflix. That Orange is the New Black is just amazing. It's such a good show. I worked in prisons for many years because that was the population I was working with. I was for a good period of time I was working with prisoners transitioning from prison back to the streets, because like 95% of prisoners are going back to the streets, going back to their old neighborhoods. So that Orange, and I spent a lot of time in the prison, so when I see just the set design on Orange is the New Black, it's amazing because it's so accurate. Oh, okay, Daryl, Road Gold. Ned, this is Daryl and Arlene from Valencia. Congratulations on the new house. I'm sorry we weren't able to make it. Oh, this is Daryl. Got it. He sent 15 by Leak by Unbox, 4 bikes, and 6 TVs, 1 extra 55-inch. I have 3 more boxes going out in the next 2 weeks. Is there anything you and Michelle need? Oh. No, not right now. I think I'm good. Thank you, though, Daryl. Buffalo Bills 14, New England Patriots 0. Does Roku work in the Philippines? Yep, Roku works as well. And also what's the one, Slingbox. I know guys that got Slingbox. They, you know, they have a set up in, you know, at their sister's house or brother's house or whatever, a family member's back in the United States, and they have the other end of it here, so they're able to, you know, get all the programming that the main box is able to get. A couple people said a YouTuber meetup. I don't know. I mean, everybody's basically doing their own thing. I mean, we had one meetup. I remember was being sick. It was raining. It's hard keeping up with these messages. Oof. Mario, hey, is it okay to have a business? I intend to introduce Dominican cigars, and I told my cousin to sell me 80 cases maybe soon. That's probably the best way to do it. You know, if you got somebody and you're selling it on the sly, you gotta, you know, make sure it's a Filipino. You don't want to. I mean, you don't want to get caught up with violating business regulations in the Philippines. That can be a very bad thing. A corporation in the Philippines the majority has to be Filipino owned. The majority of the stakeholders have to be Filipinos. And if you don't do it that way, and you try to, unless it's like call centers or an exporting business, if you can figure out a way to export stuff from the Philippines, you can own that. If you can find a way to like find some local crafts and export them back, jewelry, stuff like that. Or Filipino cigars, if you can figure out a way to grow tobacco and, you know, get people rolling up those cigars and send them out, that's another way to do it. Wes, have you tried balut? I double dog dare you. I'm not ready for balut. I've never tried it. No. Another person asked, can I take my phone and just switch SIMs? It depends. If your phone's unlocked, if your phone is unlocked, yes, you should be able to use it here. Especially since most phones, ever since the Samsung S5 and the iPhone 5, I believe, are basically world phones, and they have the capacity to run anywhere in the world. You might not be able to get LTE though, but don't worry about LTE in the Philippines. It's pretty rare outside of more urban areas. Mario, were you in the armed forces? My family is Marines mostly. Sorry to hear that. I was a United States Army paratrooper. Somebody said balut is good. Yeah, all right, I'll take your word for it. Yeah, I've got AT&T phones, Verizon phones here. I mean, and they're pretty easy to unlock usually. If you're having a problem, you can usually go onto eBay, and usually it's like $3 to $5, if that, to have somebody unlock your phone. John Smith, is shabu meth? Yes, shabu is meth, crystal methamphetamine. It first became popular in the United States, I believe, in Hawaii, where they referred to it as ice, and this was back in the 1980s. It's quite possibly the most disgusting chemical ever created by man. It's just devastating parts of the Philippines. It's devastating countries around the world. You're seeing it in America more and more in the United States, the Midwest, out west. The Northeast, it's even when I left 3 years ago, granted, when I left the U.S., it was starting to get a foothold in New England. Usually, the heroin dealers and the drug dealers, they wanted to keep everybody on heroin, keep all their users malleable, because when you get the meth, they just turn into lunatics, and it's very difficult to treat from a clinical perspective. Methamphetamine addiction is very difficult to treat. When people came in for detox and for treatment, for long-term residential treatment, the protocol was put them on long-term selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors right away, like Zoloft, Prozac, stuff like that, because their norepinephrine and dopamine levels had been so blown out by using meth for so long that they were like clinically, seriously depressed once the drug was taken away from them. It's a freaking horror show, man. And it's not something I don't think you can do recreationally. I don't think it's like weed, marijuana, mushrooms, stuff like that. Oh, Scotland. Martin says they are from Scotland, Iberians. I haven't run into any Iberians here. Somebody said New England is getting bad with that shit. Yeah, and it's cheap and it's nasty and it just, and it lasts so long. Brian Dawson, 4X is a box shipping company. Yep, I've used 4X, had really good experiences with them. Used LBC, had really good experiences with them. The person that sent all those school supplies and stuff, they sent it through some weird carrier in Texas. And it took I think it was like 5 months for it to arrive. It was horrible. Alright, so we've been babbling along now. How long have we been babbling? 44 minutes. Oy. Alright, so thank you for the comments. Still getting used to this. Hope I've answered some questions, been able to provide some information. Don't forget, we have a free ebook. We have a 3-page ebook on living, studying, working in the Philippines. Before you come here, definitely check it out. We also have our other book, which is, I think it's over 400 pages, which goes into some certain aspects in more detail. I think it's a pretty good resource. It's only $10. It's like $10.95, and it's got a money-back guarantee. But I'm going to tell you one thing, because I try to be honest with my subscribers. I did the video on our free ebook, because we've had the free ebook on our site for years. Ever since the site was up, I had that resource up there. But not a lot of people saw it or whatever, weren't aware of it. So when I announced it on the YouTube channel, my book sales, the ones that I make profit on, the ones that I sell for $10.95, flatlined. So that might have been a mistake to mention our free ebook. But it is a free ebook. It's a resource. It's there. This channel, and the purpose of this channel is just to provide that resource, to provide information for people that are interested in working, studying, or living in the Philippines, retiring in the Philippines. Because it's not all puppies and rainbows. That used to be a term I used a long time ago quite a bit. And there are some serious challenges here. Not everybody can do it long term. Some people can do it short term. But the vast majority of foreigners who come here expecting to stay for a very long period of time, something happens and they can't deal with it. It's either the death by 1,000 cuts or something traumatic happens to them directly, usually having something to do with relations. And they're gone. And they're out. I mean, every now and then you'll see flyers up. And there was this one in the gym just recently. This guy had bought a scooter, a brand new Honda Beat. He had, purchased all kinds of furniture. This is back in July. And September, 2 months later, he was selling everything. So it was all basically brand new stuff. And something happened, and he had to go back. So warnings, dangers in the Philippines, limitations of some of the infrastructure that's available here, medical care. It's all there. It's all important stuff. So like, dislike, subscribe to the channel. And it's also, I try to provide information, but there's also a lot of cursory, random stuff that I like to put up, because when I'm walking around with my phone, sometimes I just like to do videos of certain things that I see. Sometimes it's interesting, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's something I think is funny, but the viewers won't like. But it's just something that I try to share. I enjoy doing it. It's a hobby. It makes some money. We got the Google AdSense going, so it was found money. I didn't know that you could do this and make some money on it. Pays the rent, pays the electricity, pays our internet costs, all that stuff. So until next time, I wish you all well. Make sure you check out our free ebook. Check out the article I just did on lower cost of living in the Philippines versus lower quality of life. And I'll see you next time. Thank you for the feedback. Somebody said get a machete. We actually got a machete. I don't think I'm supposed to have the machete. I just say it's Michelle's machete. See y'all later. Take it easy. Peace out.